And as you look to just sort of move on from last night's game, I mean, how much of it is going over the X's and the O's, identifying mistakes that happen on the ice versus attitude and approach?
Most of it's the approach, I think. As I mentioned last night, X's and O's can only go so far if you don't have the effort and the compete that you need to have to win on a daily basis. In this league in particular, the X's and O's don't really mean all that much.
I know we touched off on Dustin Wolf yesterday.
Yeah.
We got to speak to him in the locker room after, and he seems as if he took that loss pretty tough. He looked visibly disappointed.
Yeah.
I was just curious what you thought of how he took that loss and having those moments in his young career, what that does to kind of fill out his development as a young player.
Yeah, I can't answer to how he took it. I mean, that's him. So I had a short conversation with him afterwards, but it wasn't really about the game per se.
Seen Detroit already this year, Coach.
Yeah.
What's just your approach to that group that can play pretty good hockey on any given night?
They can. Both teams, now us and them, have lost their last two, if I'm not mistaken. They are a team that has a lot of skill up front, and they play a real quick game. And the one area that over the past that we've had a hard time with against that team is their power play. So we have to do a good job of being really competitive without crossing a line and finding ourselves sitting in the penalty box.
Coach, maybe if you could just speak on Dryden Hunt's recall and perhaps is that almost a case of like a Kevin Rooney on a smaller scale, where you've got a guy who's maybe rediscovered some scoring touch in the AHL and gets another opportunity up here?
Well, partly that. I mean, he's been out for a little bit with an injury, and he's just recently come back from that as well. But in those few games that he's played, he's been a noticeable player for them, and we feel like for what we're looking for out of that role, he at this time is the best option for us. He's had a lot of experience at this level, and he understands what we need out of him. So it's another good opportunity for him, and we're happy that he's back up here.
Markstrom tomorrow?
We'll see.
Ryan, you've had a new look power play since acquiring Andrei Kuzmenko.
Yeah.
I thought for most of the road trip it looked pretty dangerous,
Yeah.
and they were getting results. What's the difference for you when the power play looks good and when the power play doesn't? What are you seeing?
Yeah, to me, when they're, if you want to call it pass happy, or when they look at the net and they direct their game to the net, they're a much more dangerous group. If they're looking to make plays that aren't there and they're just wanting to make a play because it's going to look really good, then it often doesn't work. But when they have their focus at the net and they're direct with it, then they create some opportunities off that, whether it be the second shot coming off of a play to the net, off a rebound or a retrieval. It gets them more into motion when they have a focus on the net.
You talk about that compete level, and was that sort of the message to the group this morning and the purpose behind the practice? So there was a lot of pace, a lot of energy, some physicality in battles, and did you get what you would have liked as a coach out of the practice?
I think we did. Coaches are funny. You often, when you don't see something, you want to work on something to correct it, and that was an area we felt needed to be corrected. So it was a short one, but I thought the guys really came and they worked today, which is a really great sign, and I know they'll be ready for that tomorrow.